Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel today. The video you're going to watch here is basically all about the CDC order that was issued yesterday, an extension of a no-sale order until September 30, 2020. I got a copy of the 20-page report from the CDC, basically outlining how they came to this decision, why, all kinds of information. And I thought I would share it with you. Thank you, those of you who are following my channel, those of you who have subscribed to Traveling with Bruce. I really appreciate you doing that. Also, those of you who are giving me thumbs ups on my videos, I appreciate that a lot. And also your comments. And thank you, all of you who are following me on Facebook. The Traveling with Bruce channel has its own Facebook group page, and I welcome you to join in anytime. Same with Instagram. A number of you are following me there. And lastly, thank you for your support. Those of you who are going to my RedBubble Store, link down below. Pick up your TWB merchandise there. Thank you so much. Okay, yesterday the CDC released a 20-page report about the extension of a no-sale order. I'm not going to read it to you. There's a lot of information in here, but what I found interesting was how, of course, in depth they go and how they arrived at the decision that they have made. And they covered a number of areas that I generally don't think of on an ongoing basis. I'm sure most of you out there rarely think of some of the stuff these folks are worrying about all the time. But as I am talking to you here, of course, what are cruise ships doing? They're sitting out in the waters. They're sitting in the waters either just inside U.S. waters or outside of U.S. territorial waters. They're in the Philippines offloading crew members. They're in the Bahamas. They're in Europe. But they're not sailing with any paying passengers. And with the latest order, the no-sale date has been extended from July 24 to September 30. The thing that I caught that it kind of surprised me in a way was the fact that when I think about going on a cruise, I'm like most of you out there. I think about all the amenities I enjoy. This one right here is one of my favorites. Hopping into a hot tub, jacuzzi spa type unit here, and just letting the bubbles and nice warm water take the stress away. What I don't think about is this. I generally don't think about what's happening below deck while I'm pampering myself. But of course, the cruise lines are telling us you don't have to think about this. That's what we're here for. We will take care of all this work. If you're going to interact with our staff, you're going to interact with our staff like this. If you've got a nice unit upstairs in one of the upper units, or if you're going to go to the pool deck and grab a quick pizza or a hot dog, you're going to be serviced by our crew here that are just going to spoil you rotten. What we don't think about is the fact that between meals, the crew, they're downstairs doing their thing, and they're having their meals in crew quarters. They're having their showers and their sleeps and everything else. They're down here, down below deck, and we don't really think about it. We think about interacting with our crew here in our cabin, with our room stewards and the bartenders and the other folks, the waiters and the waitresses. The thing that the CDC said to in this report that caught my attention was between the latest or the first issuance of a no-sale order back in April, May, June, July, until now, is how many times they've had to interact with cruise lines regarding the safety of the cruise. We all know about the big news stories about getting passengers off of cruise ships. That was dominating my videos and many other YouTubers out there. People trying to get off of cruise ships. But what we haven't really talked about very often, and what the CDC does talk about, is the fact that crew members are in just as much peril as we are to getting the virus on board these ships. And in dozens of cases since April, May, and June, the CDC has had to act and either allow cruise ships permission to come into U.S. ports to allow the disembarkation of very, very ill crew members who've caught the virus. And this is after the cruise ships had, assured the CDC that they were taking all measures necessary to protect their crews, and that their crews wouldn't be getting ill because they've done social distancing and they've done enhanced cleaning procedures. But the CDC has sent letters out to all the cruise lines asking, are you putting your crew members in cabins where they have their own private bathroom? Are you making sure that they are wearing masks when they're getting out of their cabins? Are you still feeding them inside their crew quarter areas through the buffet system that you usually use? Or what kind of changes have you made? And they would get responses a week or two later saying that we've done everything you've said, and we're taking really good care of our crew. And then a week later, another couple of cruise ships have to come in either in Florida or in California with ill crew members. So how can it be? The ship isn't allowing passengers on and off these ships. How are these crew members showing up ill, and in some cases seriously ill? And this is a dilemma the CDC is dealing with that we're not dealing with because it's just not making the news. Obviously, we're not going to be exposed to this information. This is a behind-the-scenes stuff. But in the public eye, all we're hearing about from cruise lines is how they are anticipating starting up again, and how they are offering us all kinds of incentives to book a cruise for 2021 and beyond. When it comes to media interviews, the top officials of cruise lines are happy to discuss the fact that cruise bookings are up for 2021, and that there's a tremendous demand from the public that want to go cruising again. The reality is, though, from reading this report, at least to these eyes, is that, the cruise lines want to get back in business, but the CDC is saying, you can forget about it. You're not going anywhere with a paying passenger, because if you can't even keep your crew members healthy when you're down to a couple of hundred members per ship, let alone thousands of crew members, how are we supposed to allow you guys to come on into Miami and load up with 4,000 people for a 1-week cruise and 1,200 crew? You guys are spreading this pandemic. These cruise ships are just not able to contain the virus, and there is no way the CDC is interested in having a scenario where every week 4, 5, 6 ships, 10 ships come back to U.S. ports with 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 people with the virus, because the amount of tracing that needs to be done is into the thousands and thousands of people. Just imagine you flying in with your family, maybe mom and dad and a couple of kids. You're flying into Miami from somewhere in the U.S., land at the airport, get to a hotel for the night, next day get to your ship, take a 1-week cruise, come back for a 1 or 2 more night hotel stay, and then fly home. And a week later, 2 of you are ill. Where did you get it from? How did you get it? And who have you interacted with in the last 2 weeks? Just think about the tracing that has to be done by the CDC. It is mind-numbing. And they have said in this report that they have spent over 38,000 man-hours trying to track the virus outbreak because of cruise ship passengers and crew members that have caught this virus. The investigations are so thorough and in this case, unbelievably expensive. It's quite amazing. They were saying that from March the 1st until July the 10th in 2020, they came across 2,973 COVID-like illness cases on cruise ships, in addition to 34 deaths. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's just way too high. A lot of you who follow the cruise thing like I do, the cruise business, you have heard in the last week where Norwegian and Royal Caribbean have put together a blue ribbon panel to try to come up with protocols, health protocols, to allow cruising to start again, and what will be the new rules. This was only just announced last week. The panel apparently will be coming up with their recommendations in the next several months. So I'm thinking towards October of this year. Even if they came out with 20, 30 protocols and submitted them to the CDC, I would think the CDC would take 30 to 90 days to review them all, and perhaps a dialogue would be established between the two parties back and forth with questions and answers. I can't see the two parties coming up with any kind of a consensus agreement between each other until the new year sometime. That might be March or April. In the meantime, if the numbers of COVID cases continues to spike in the U.S. and or we have these hot spots from time to time where certain states and certain cities break out, the CDC is helpless to allow cruise lines to start sailing again. The CDC cannot say to the American public, you're good to go. The odds of you catching the virus is very, very low if you, one, travel, B, number two, get on a cruise ship and travel home again. I don't know how the CDC can come around to any kind of an approval process for cruise ships to start cruising. Now, those of you out there who are following me, you know that I've talked about the fact that airlines are flying, hotels are apparently opening up, and theme parks are operating. But as I speak to you today, which is July 17th, 2020, we're beginning to hear reports now of airlines beginning the idea of cutting back routes again. And we're now hearing more and more chatter about the fact that theme parks might re-close again. Even though they've been allowed to reopen, we now already have seen states start doing re-lockdowns because the numbers are at record highs. I think yesterday the U.S. had over 70,000 cases. The talk is that this could reach much, much higher numbers. And so the CDC, I think, has got their hands tied. I don't think they can allow cruise ships to sail until a vaccine is actually invented. And the speculation there is minimum 6 months from now, which I can't possibly imagine that being accurate, to 2 years from now. And that's optimistic forecast. So we may not have cruising really come back to us until 2022, as I have speculated before. Reading the CDC report yesterday evening and again this morning, the kind of concerns that they have with respect to social distancing, face mask coverings, food presentation, the embarkation process, debarkation process, and just the ability of testing to be done in an accurate way. I can't see the CDC being comfortable to say to the American public, you can sail anytime you want, because it just doesn't look to me like it's going to be safe at all. And I have to admit that if it's unsafe to go cruising, to me that means it's unsafe to go to a theme park. It's unsafe to go to say Miami to a beach hotel. It's unsafe to go to Hawaii. It's unsafe to go to Dominican Republic, Cancun, Mexico, you name it. It's just not safe. And the CDC, I think, has done a thorough review here. And they've gone into a lot of areas that a lot of us don't think about. And I have to commend them for, I think, a job well done. I'd love to get your comments on what you think is going on and what your thoughts are going forward. And in the meantime, I appreciate all of you following my channel, your subscriptions to my channel, thumbs ups for my videos, and we'll talk to you next time, everybody. Bye for now.